Jesus 911.
Today we have a good show. I'm going to talk about a couple of things that are near and dear to our heart. One thing is the should Catholics talk to their dead loved ones? This is something that is always going on. We lose our loved ones from time to time, and then we're going to hear about Satan actually admitting that he's afraid of the Madonna. Thanks be to God. And so let's go ahead and start today with Remember Me. Should Catholics talk to their dead ones? This is an article from a Catholic news agency, CNA. And this is how it starts. It says Disney Pixar movie Coco, the main character Miguel accidentally passes over into the land of the dead on Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, while trying to reconcile his love of music with his family's ban on it. There, he learns that the dead can only visit their loved ones on that holiday, and that only if they can prove there's a photo of them on their family's ofrenda. It's an ofrenda is an altar, a memorial altar with photos of loved ones on it, colorful decorations, and their favorite foods, drinks, and mementos of the deceased. We've put their photos on the ofrenda so their spirits can cross over. This is very important. If we don't put them up, they can't come. So says Miguel's abuelita, the grandmother. That's what she explains. Personally, we went to go see this movie right after my mom passed away, and that was about 5 years ago. And it turns out that it's a very cute and attractive movie. It's culturally familiar to Latinos, yet it's wrought with superstitions, Latino-style superstitions. Sometimes the writers and the research of some of these movies are very good. I learned that the way that they studied a grandmother in the flesh and gave those attributes to the character herself. The terms are proper as well, but then come the superstitions, which become somewhat hard to deal with when we're trying to explain to our children what exactly they mean in reality. So unless you're willing to take a young one to a movie like this and allow the movie to explain exactly what's happening, then I think you're missing your duty as a good Catholic to explain the difference between reality and movies. That's important. The article goes on. It says, while in the land of the dead, Miguel bumps into his own deceased family members and learns his true family history. Through Miguel's experience, though Miguel's experience is fictional, it is not uncommon for grieving loved ones to experience what psychologists call after-death communication, in which the bereaved believe that they see, hear the voices of, or even smell their dead loved ones. These experiences, sometimes called bereavement hallucinations, can be healing and comforting for those who grieve. Multiple studies have found. So these studies are refer to the studies that have found that these bereavement hallucinations, smelling, hearing, seeing the dead after their death, are comforting and healing. Now, my question is this: will psychologists denounce to people who are being healed and comforted by hallucinations? Will they denounce it? Very doubtful. Maybe Catholic psychiatrists who recognize the dangers of this particular activity. And those people who are being deceived, all these characteristics of their dead loved ones, during a most troubled and confusing time, science, psychology will normally not intervene. It may be problematic for some, being tempted to be harassed by demons, and we're going to get into that in a minute. The article goes on and says, but Catholics should proceed with caution when communicating with the dead. Two Catholic psychologists told CNA they should ground their communications in prayer. We would certainly support that here at Virgin Most Powerful. Dana Nygaard is a Catholic and a licensed professional counselor who speaks to grief groups and counsels clients through loss. Nygaard told CNA that because many Catholics misunderstand what happens to souls after death, she urges caution when talking about what it means to talk to their dead loved ones. She says, if they are speaking to a loved one, for example, saying, how are they doing that? She says, is it through saying, hey, Grandma, I think you're up there in heaven with God? I really hope you pray and look over me. Nygaard says, okay, well, that sounds fine. Or are they going to a psychic or a medium? Is this necromancy? How are they doing this? I think it's an important question, Nygaard said. I think that the objection from Virgin Most Powerful, specifically here, Jesus 911, would be that how reality uh, intersects with the movies, especially when the faithful are doing some of these types of communications. They're done in a way that is definitely contrary to Catholic teaching. Nygaard mentions a psychic or a medium. And what she means there is necromancy. Let's define necromancy. Necromancy, in a Webster's definition, says conjuring spirits of the dead for purposes of magically revealing or influencing future events. So necromancy has is twofold. One is to communicate with the dead, and the other is to kind of like a side note, kind of like an added benefit here, is to tell me what's going to happen in the future. That's where we as Catholics get into problems when we do these things. Informed Catholics know that there are inherent problems with this activity. Most times it opens a door to the spirit world because demons know the desires of humans. They know how human beings interact. They know the love that exists between us and our loved ones. And so they sometimes desire to do things when people attempt to contact a deceased family member. And this is what happens. I remember when my mother died during the novena. One night, my father came up to me at the home. We had everybody there, which turned out to be a good thing. One of them was Jess Romero's mom, I remember. But my dad said, "Yeah, your mom's in the house." He took me off to the side of the home, and he says, "Hey," he says, "Eddie," he goes, "your mom's in the house." I said, "Okay, what do you mean?" My red flags went up. My little doggy ears stood up on there, on the back. He says, "Well, she's here. I hear her at night. She's walking around, and last night she came to the bed, and I saw where it went down. The bed was depressed." And I said, okay, so we need to do something here. So we had everybody there. I said, hey, listen, before we start this this novena, I think it was the fifth or sixth night, I says, let's do this. Everybody, please pray the St. Michael prayer and the Hail Mary prayer. Just repeat that over and over. I'm going to walk throughout the house with this blessed candle, exorcised candle, and I'm gonna ask the precatory prayers, because I had no authority there. My father did. But I asked that Jesus, Mary, and St. Michael the Archangel would remove the presence of evil from that home. And I went to every room separately. I even walked through. People that had no idea what was going on, they knew something was happening, but they weren't sure until after, and I told them. And so I continued to do that to the whole house. Stopped it, put the candle away, and then we continued with the novena. Afterwards, I explained to everybody what had happened, and just to let everybody know that never happened again. To my knowledge, right now, that never came back. So that was an attempt, and I'm not sure what my father did. Or maybe he, I know that he wanted to be with my mom, talk to my mom, but the reality is that whatever it was, the demons were aware that somebody in this house, he now being alone, wanted to communicate with a dead loved one, and they were willing to fit in. They were willing to become, for my father, one of the my mother's soul. That's what they were trying to pull over. That's what they were trying to commit some fraud and establish communication with my father. So I was happy to be able to step in and block that. And life goes on. Things happen here and there. And so we have to realize that these things are very important. These traditions, these superstitions, we should say, sometimes put us in a position where we have to act. This was one of those times when I felt that I had to act. And thanks be to God because it never came back.
Virgin Most Powerful Radio, sharing the gospel with clarity and charity.